Good evening, everybody, or afternoon, everybody. Good Saturday afternoon, and welcome to the 75th episode of What Every Cruiser Wants. I'm Chris. I'll be your host tonight here with High Seas Cruising. Tiffany, unfortunately, is not with us, at least not with us yet. But she's going to be joining us here in a little while here in the show. She is going to be making her way home. California Linda, hey, thank you for stopping by. I understand you got family stuff to do. That obviously takes priority. Cody, welcome to the show. Dale, welcome to the show. Glad to have everybody here. All right, we got a whole bunch of comments tonight. We're going to try this. We're going to do this live. We're going to read the comments, and then we'll all be able to talk about them as they come up. Good evening. Evening. Like I said, and Tiffany should be with us here in just a little bit. She's making her way home. She already said, yep, I absolutely will join as soon as I get there. Like I said, tonight I have got a whole bunch of comments to go over, and we got everything. We got stuff about gratuities, because, you know, everybody's been talking about that lately. We got stuff about weather. I went and pulled all different kinds of comments from all over the place just to share with everybody some of the stuff that people write in. Some of the crazy things they ask for, you know, some entitlements, and a bunch of people that I really think just don't understand how cruising actually works. But all right, Ruth, welcome to the show. We got people still hopping in here. We're going to get ready and we're going to get started, and we're going to actually look at our first comment here because, like I said, we have quite a few of them tonight. So let's jump right in here with the first one. All right. Charter members on the cruise boards are sick to the teeth of this. Tell the beards to stop playing a shell game. Put the gratuities in the price of the cruise already. Poll this and stop with the smear of nonsense posts. All righty. So we have a person here right off the bat who wants gratuities added to the cruise fare. They don't think that you should prepay them. They don't think you should pay them at the end of your cruise. They want them added because they're tired of the comments. They're tired of people talking about it. Oh, okay, we just got people in there saying hello. But what do you guys think about that particular comment? Now, for me, the only thing I'd like to see, to me, you know, you prepay the gratuities. It's kind of like them already being included in the cruise fare. If you pay them up front, it's the same thing, whether they put them in the price or they don't put them in the price. However, the only thing I would say is by adding the gratuities, or not necessarily adding the gratuities, but I would like to see that when you book your cruise, if you add the gratuities, if you add a drink package, if you add a Wi-Fi package, that's all payable out over the term. So, you know, you book your cruise a year in advance, you got 10 months to pay on your cruise. I'd like to see all of that in the cruise fare, or the ability to pay it out, not have to pay it all at once. That's the only thing about not having the gratuities included. Now, I'm sure a lot of these people that want the gratuities included, one of the comments I see the most is that they don't want people to have the ability to remove the gratuities. But there are people out there that prefer to tip in cash. And Carnival has said over and over again that the number of people that remove the gratuities and don't pay in cash is actually a very small number. All right, Cody says the prepaid is the way for me. Lynn has joined us. Lenny has joined us. And Geneva. All right, so we have lots of people hopping in here. But yeah, gratuities, it's going to be a touchy subject, and it is for a lot of people. Everybody has a different opinion on gratuities. And honestly, though, the tipping culture has gotten terrible. It has gotten terrible in everything you do. We ordered a pizza the other night, ordered it online. Tiffany stopped and picked it up on her way home. The very first thing they wanted to know was, how much of a tip do you want to give? What? Why do I need to tip you? We went and ate at a pizza buffet. And the very first question was, as soon as I stick my card in to pay, for a buffet now, mind you. They want to know how much we wanted to tip. It's becoming ridiculous. But let's see, what do we got on here? We like to prepay. Absolutely. Lynn likes to prepay. And I agree. I prepay too. But I would like to see it where they could, put it into the overall price of the cruise. Not increase the cruise price, but at the time of booking, anything you book at the time of booking, I'd like to see be payable over the allotted amount of time. Because, right now, when you book your cruise and you say, okay, I want to prepay my gratuities, they want them right then and there. If you book a drink package, they want all of the money right there and there. And that can get expensive. If you want to prepay your gratuities, get a drink package, get the Wi-Fi, they want all that money right then and there. Put that where you can actually pay it out. That would be my suggestion to change. Are people being cheap? There's no way everyone gets gratuities if you're handing them out separately. I don't know. I'm a firm believer that tipping should actually be an individual's choice. Tipping, to me, has always been for service that is above and beyond, normal service. So if someone does a really great job, they really stand out, then yeah, they deserve a tip. If the service is substandard, subpar in some cases, they're obviously not going to get as big a tip. So I kind of get where people say that, they prefer to tip in cash. I know the cruise lines say that the tips are divided and some of it goes to people that you don't see. Well, then I guess it kind of comes up with the question of, well, if you don't see them, what are they doing? What service are they providing me that's above and beyond that they should get a tip? That's one way to look at it. But like I said, when it comes to gratuities, nobody agrees really. I think we can all agree the crew members work hard. They're always busting their butts. If you're good to them, then they're definitely good to you. And I think crew members do deserve tips, but there's talk that, cruise lines are using tips for salaries and things like that. And cruise lines deny it, but the comments are still out there. And matter of fact, we have comments specifically about that. Let's see. Let's hop over here and we'll actually take a look at the next one. I think our first couple here are about gratuities. Oh, nope. We're actually going to hop over and we're going to talk about something different here. All right. We are on the Carnival blank and the TV in our room is a joke. It's the size of a computer monitor. Really? I am not impressed with the size of this TV or your cheap, ass channel options. Get your hands in your pockets, Carnival, and stump up for bigger TVs. Minimum TV size should be 42, and they should all be OLED. I was told by my room cleaner that the satellite providers had increased their rates so much it was no longer affordable. If we have to pay for premium channels, we will. TV is a principal factor in cruise enjoyment. You are a donkey if you don't catch up with other cruise lines and do it fast. Yeah, exactly. That is the very first thing I would say right there as well is who goes on a cruise to watch TV? When did that become the principal thing to do on a cruise line? You know what I mean? I don't hop on the cruise ship and man, I am great to just spend my entire week in my room watching TV. And who wants to pay more for premium channels? Honestly, let's ask the question. We already have some answers going on here, but who's in their room the whole cruise watching TV? Yep, I turn it on, when we're getting ready to go to bed, click it on for a little noise in the room, help fall asleep, because Tiffany likes to fall asleep with the TV on. I don't like the TV on. I like it pitch black when I go to sleep. So we'll turn it on, she'll fall asleep, and then I turn it off. Other than that, I watch the map channel. Come to find out that apparently I'm not the only one that likes to watch the cruise ship on the map. That's probably the channel I look at the most when I'm on a cruise. And I definitely do not want to pay more money for premium channels. Cruises are expensive enough. If you want to watch something specific, you want to watch a premium channel, whatever the case may be, you know what? Every channel these days has an app. You can get the internet package and you can watch it on your computer, your phone, your tablet. Watch whatever you want to watch. But don't think that the rest of us want to pay for anything so that you can have a 42-inch TV in your cabin. So that's how you can spend your cruise. Yep, the map channel. That is one of my absolute favorites. And I saw a lot of people write comments saying that they watched the map channel. I kind of thought it was only me. Maybe I was weird, but apparently it's a cruiser thing. People like the map channel. Yeah, calling John silly names and saying dumb stuff. You think that makes him want to immediately call the big bosses? Because, of course, he doesn't actually control any of this stuff. But does he think it makes him want to send that to the big bosses and be like, hey, we immediately need to run out and spend all this money for TVs because this one cruiser wants TV? Yep, that's us too. I do watch the cameras, especially if I think we're coming up on maybe a port or something. I'm like, oh, let me see real quickly if we're almost there. Use the bow camera for things like that. But yeah, that's really about it. For me, there is just too much to do on a cruise ship. And if I want to sit down and watch a movie, go up on the Lido deck. They're almost always playing. Yeah, during a couple, if it's really, really rough and we just kind of want to sit down and chill, that would be a good reason. Watch some movies, order some room service. But yeah, with cruises costing what they cruise, like I said, who really wants to pay more from our premium channel? And if watching TV is your whole thing on vacation, maybe a different type of vacation. Just my opinion. The cruising may not be the best choice to spend your money on. But it's another example where a person thinks that they're speaking for all of us. They want this changed because obviously we all must want this changed. Yet until you read the comments and you realize that no, most people don't want that changed. All right, let's see what we got for our third one. Let's see, we got a bunch of these to get through today. Oh, okay, here we go. That one slipped in, but we are back to gratuities. I am reading that Carnival is not giving these tips to crew in addition to their salary, but instead they are using this money to pay their salary and then paying them the difference to make up their salary. If this is true, I will reconsider paying the gratuities. All right. Now, this has been going around. This was over on, I guess there was a Facebook group and a Facebook page out there that was basically putting out and saying that the cruise lines do not pay their passengers, or pay their passengers. Cruise lines do not pay their crew. The crew members only live on the tips. And I looked at this, and there were some people that claiming to be crew members that were saying this is true. They live on tips only. But the cruise lines have been adamant that that's not the case. Carnival has been absolutely adamant that this is not the case, that they pay them a salary and that the tips are on top of what the salary is. They're not used to make up the salary. Now, from what I've been able to find and learn, I have no idea what the salary is. I'm sure, it varies from position to position. It varies from how long you've worked for the cruise lines. I've seen numbers everywhere from it's like $50 a month, which seems really, really low, all the way up to contracts that are, $1,000 a month. Entertainers and things like that, of course, make more. But at the same time, the cruise lines never actually come out and said, we pay this much and they make estimated this much in tips. And kind of squash this all together. Instead, they really just come out and say it's not true. So at kind of the moment, it's a bit of a he said, she said. Yeah, and that tip thing's been going around for years, and honestly, who knows if it's true? Yep. Yeah, check the expenses. I use the app for that. I'm a huge believer in apps when they work good and they work correctly for the cruise lines. I like just being able to boop, and take a quick look. A couple times I've tried it on the TV, and half the time, at least on the Princess cruises I was on, it kept telling me to go to the app anyway. It wouldn't even show it to me on the TV. So weird, but yeah, check the expenses, look at the map, check out the cameras, and then occasionally when there's absolutely nothing going on, or it's bedtime, or we're getting dressed, kind of just put something on for some noise. Yeah, I don't believe that either. I really don't. I think more crew members would be making an absolute stink over it. Crew members have their own pages and forums on the internet they can access. They can do so with, not putting their names just like, everybody else can on the internet. And I think there'd be a lot more comments that they weren't getting paid by the cruise lines, whichever cruise lines it was, if that was true versus someone who maybe just hates cruising, hates cruise lines, hates businesses like cruise lines. Right. And I completely agree. I think there'd be a lot more noise. There's just people out there that hate them. They don't like the fact that they're, not American companies, that they're flagged elsewhere, all different kinds of stuff like that. But I heard an interesting fact and I went and verified it because it came from another content creator. But because they also like to compare like labor laws in the United States versus crew members, which don't have to follow U.S. labor laws. But here in the United States, for a tipped position, so one of our room stewards on board or your waiter, that's considered a tipped position. Well, here in the United States, the federal minimum wage for tipped employees, separate from other ones, but tipped employees is still only $2.13 an hour. That's the federal minimum. Different states have different numbers. But if you take a crew member, and this is the math I did. I did 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for 30 days, even by US standards, that comes out to like $738. Not a ton of money. So yeah, if crew members are making $700, $800, and maybe $1,000 in salary, and then receiving their tips, they're not doing too bad, even by U.S. standards. So, but again, I don't actually know the contract amounts. So, yeah, tip extra if they're great. Yeah, I mean, if I get that exceptional service, definitely I tip some more. If I want something extra from my room store, like been on ships before, older ships where I didn't necessarily have a refrigerator in the room. When I was on the Ecstasy was one of the last ones, didn't have a fridge. When I was on Grandeur of the Seas, she didn't have a fridge in my room. And so I would tip the room steward extra and be like, hey, do you mind? I'd like some ice in my room daily. I don't have a fridge. I like my drinks cold in the morning. Not a problem. Tip them. Always had ice. That's, one of the examples I use for tipping extra. Been on cruises with the kids when they were little and the wait staff. I mean, they were so far above and beyond. When the kids were really little, they were actually cutting up the kids' food for them. That way, we didn't have to stop eating to do it. Extra tip right there. So, the crew members definitely earn their tips and they earn extra tips. All right, let's see. We are on number 4 here. Oh, here we go. Carnival Breeze should put bowls of dill pickle chips on the bar tops and tables. This is a standard at Pete's Dueling Piano Bar. Okay. Now, I don't know who Pete and his dueling piano is. But let's be honest. You see people on cruise ships. You see them go into the bathroom and not wash their hands. You see them go into the buffets and not wash their hands. You see norovirus going around cruise ships, a lot of which has to do with hygiene. And so, who really wants a bowl of anything that is a community bowl where everybody can stick their hands in and then put it into their mouth? I just cannot see in any way, shape, or form that is a good idea. Now, whether you like dill pickle chips or not, that's a whole other conversation about what kind of chip it should be. But just a bowl that people are sticking their hands in. Look, I don't know these people. I don't know the last time they washed their hands. I don't know where their hands have been. I do not want it in a bowl touching something that's going to go in my mouth. For that, you might as well let them run along and touch everything in the buffet and then put it in your mouth. No. Gross. Absolutely gross. Years ago, I understand. A bowl of peanuts, something like that on a bar top. Today, absolutely no. Yes, absolutely true. A lot of them do. I've heard it that a lot of them send the salary home and then they live on the tips. Yeah, it's been a long time since snacks on a bar was even a thing. Yeah, there you go. So just using that stat right there of 9 out of 10 people don't wash their hands. Do you want them in a bowl of anything that you're going to eat? No. Connie wants barbecue chips. Now, if the cruise lines, and I'm not always an advocate for cruise lines having things that cost money, but look, if people really want that and they really want snacks at the bar, all right, well, maybe the cruise lines can sell you a bag of chips, sell you a bag of peanuts if you don't want to take them on the ship yourself. Because you can, as long as in their original sealed packaging. If you really want a bar snack, bring some bar snacks with you on board the ship, or the cruise lines can sell you some. Probably cheaper to bring them on yourself because the cruise line's going to charge you an arm and a leg. But something where everybody's going to put their hands in is a big old no for me. Okay, yes, yeah, I didn't even know what it was. Sounds like it's fun, dueling pianos. Even the piano bar on Carnival, you get to that adult show at night, it can get a little bit raunchier. It's fun. It's great. Sing along. Love the piano bar. Just not the idea of my food being in somebody else's hands. Delicious herpes. Yeah, I don't want any herpes either. I don't want any norovirus. I don't want any of that junk. I just don't want people touching my food that don't need to be touching my food. Andre, what's going on? Welcome to the show. Yep, I mean that's a pretty much you don't like people using the same tongs as I have to. There are times when I agree with that statement as well. One of the protocols that I really liked when they were in place was I liked the fact that the crew served the food in the buffet. I like that part, knowing that nobody else was touching it and they were keeping it away from hands. You guys have heard the stories. People touch rolls and lick their fingers and touch other stuff. It's gross. And I know it's not everybody. I see tons of people in the buffet doing the right thing. I see tons of people washing their hands, using the sanitizer, trying to do the right things. But, if you watch, you will see the people who, they're raised in a barn, I guess. Trying to go to the bar and get an Irish trash can. Well, I'm still 2 days away from the Irish trash can, but it is on my list. It is on my list. We're going to be doing some Irish trash cans this week, or we're going to ask if they can do some. I'm sure somebody knows how to do it on that ship. Yeah, and to me, it was a better deal. But I get it. It takes a lot of crew members, more people, more employees, especially when they were having a hard time getting crew members and visas, especially right after the restart. That, yeah, I get why the buffet is the way it is, but in my opinion, it was simply better when we had the COVID stuff, and the crew members were serving it. So I'll go ahead and put that down there for everybody to hit the like button. Thank you for reminding everybody, including myself, in the comments. Like I said, I always forget that part, but we'll throw that up real quick. Said I have Purell wipes that I use when I sit down to eat. The people before me touch the counters, the tongue. Yeah, definitely. If you like the wipes and all that kind of stuff, encourage everybody to bring them. I know the crew members run around, they sanitize constantly. I see them constantly cleaning, but they can't necessarily clean every single spot every single time that somebody you don't know has touched it before. And norovirus has been more active this year than some of the years past. And always better safe than sorry, because who wants to spend part of their cruise in their cabin with stuff coming out both ends? That's kind of a vacation bummer, a serious vacation bummer. See, it's pretty much how any establishment skips the free handouts. Yeah, but like I said, in the subject that we're talking about snacks on a bar, I free is just not a good idea. Yeah, we had that talk in the live about the food, and I can agree with that. I think a lot of times it has been better in the past. All right, let's hop on to the next one here. Oh, this one here just made me laugh, so I thought I'd share it. The Tinder from the Dream yesterday to Half Moon Cay was terrifying. I will have PTSD from it for a long time. Unbelievable. All right, so now in this particular case, though, it really doesn't give any context as to, what was so bad about it. What was so horrible? I'm assuming that the water was rough. I'm assuming it was bumpy. It's a tender. Half Moon Cay, during hurricane season, the water's a little bumpier, kind of bounces around a little bit. But have you guys ever been on a tender that was so bad that you thought you were going to have PTSD from it? And that it was unbelievable? What was unbelievable? That they had to ride it? I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny that a tender apparently has given someone PTSD. Has anybody ever gotten PTSD from a tender before? That one is just, it's bizarre, in my opinion. Just utterly, utterly bizarre. But, hey, someone took the time to go in and put that down and write in that comment. So we will share it. Said, I took this tender. It was fun. Water was a little bumpy, but it was great. Yeah, I've ridden the tender into Half Moon before, and it is a little bumpy, but I don't know. I don't love dealing with the tenders. Now that I completely agree with. I would love for Half Moon to actually have a dock. And the tender ride itself isn't the problem. It's getting on the tender and all that mess that goes along with tenders makes them less enjoyable as just walking off onto a dock. Yeah, I said I've had rough ones too, but never any PTSD from it. Yep. Yeah, and you like how it was a Tinder, not a tender, but yeah. And I agree with that too, Ray. Normally, if it's so bad that they feel that there is any kind of issue or safety issue with, small boats in the rough seas, they'll usually say, sorry, we can't dock here. The seas are too rough. But And again, to me, sometimes quotes, comments like that, I think are from people who have never cruised before, or maybe have never been on a small boat, never taken a tender before. I mean, you ever gone out like deep sea fishing on a small boat, or hauled butt across a lake, anything like that, taking any kind of small coastal boat? They bump and they bounce and they're all over the place, and you get wet, and it's just part of the ride, I guess. Because the boat was, yeah, they do bang on the side of the ship sometimes. You're absolutely right about that. Um, there was talk one time of them building that dock at Half Moon Key. There was a discussion about it, and I think there was a plan to do it, but it kind of got shelved. Now, did it get shelved for environmental reasons or something else? I'm not 100% sure, but a lot of that talk was pre-COVID, so it may be a financial thing that has stopped them from doing it. Like I said, though, it could be environmental, the Bahamian government. A lot of times with the cruise lines, if something doesn't go the way they kind of planned, they don't really come back and say, hey, this is the reason we're not doing it, and there's nothing we can do about it. Usually they come out and say, due to such and such, it's been placed on hold, and then you don't hear about it again. Is it pronounced Key or K? Okay, so in the Bahamas, they pronounce it as Key. So it's Castaway Key, Half Moon Key, all of them are keys. Coco Cay, they pronounce it that way so it rhymes. Perfect Day at Coco Cay. The actual name of the island is Little Stirrup Key, I believe is the actual name of it. And then next to it is Stirrup Key, which is Norwegian's private island. But it is actually pronounced, according to folks down there, Key. But I don't know if anybody gets too upset if you say it wrong. But I've always understood it to actually be pronounced Key, Key. But I've said it both ways too. And like I said, the exception being Coco Cay, and they did that so it rhymes. But yep, so traumatized and PTSD from a Tinder. Right. And normally if it's bumpy, they'll have extra crew members on hand too for folks that do have mobility issues. The way it's supposed to work, I know it doesn't work this way on every ship, but those that have mobility issues on a tender port usually are supposed to have a meeting place they go to, and then they have extra assistance getting on and off those tenders, just because they are going to move. They're going to bounce. Two ships next to each other, there's going to be some type of movement. Even in some calm water, you're still going to have at least a little bit of movement. But all right, let's keep going here and see what is next. Oh, here we go. You should do away with the plastic cabin keys if you really do care for the environment. Get with the times. They are discarded at the end of each cruise. That's thousands every week, I guess. Go to using an app and get with the times. All right. So the plastic key cards that Carnival uses, apparently they are just automatically, everybody hops off the cruise ship, discards them, thousands of them end up in the trash. Now, I'm not saying that some do not end up in the trash, but I got a gut feeling, you guys can let me know if I'm right or if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people keep their key cards because it makes a nice souvenir. It has the dates, it has the name of the ship, it has all that stuff right there on it for you, and a lot of people keep them. They keep them, and let's see, I'm going to try to move the camera here real quick. Let's hopefully I don't mess this up so I can show this to you guys. But there you go. You can see on that wall right there, I have all of my Carnival keys. I got my Disney keys. I got my Royal Caribbean keys. I have my keys, my medallions from Princess. Yeah, keeping those things. Oh, hold on. Now I got to fix the camera because I played with it. But yeah, keeping those things. I mean, it makes a nice little, because you've already paid for the cruise. So the key, whatever the case may be, is a nice little souvenir that you don't have to go to the gift shop and you don't have to buy. And like I said, the fact that it has the name of the ship on it and the date that you go, to me, makes it extra special because it's not like it's just generic. Those keys are those are keys too. But let's see. Yep, keep all of them. Keep my cards. Yes, I collect them. Not everyone wants to have to carry around their phones. Yep, and I agree with that. And don't get me wrong, I like the medallion app. I like the medallion. Okay, I like it, but I even keep the medallions too, because if you pre-order your medallion, or if you get the Princess Plus or the Princess Premier package, and they mail it to you for free, your medallion comes with the name of the ship on it. I'm not 100% sure if they come with the name of the ship on it if you get them at the terminal. If anybody's ever gotten theirs at the terminal, let me know. But I saw people on the ship who had a medallion that didn't have the ship's name on it. But all of mine have the ship's name on them because I pre-order them. So even with the medallion, I keep it, and they're magnetized. So they stick right to the magnet board, right along with the keys. And I still think it's a great souvenir. Yeah, I like to look at them. It also reminds me, where I'm at in my loyalty level. I can see when I'm going to change color. It lets me keep track of the number of cruises I've been on. If I ever forget, the ship or the date or anything, I can scan that real quickly. All kinds of little stuff. And I said we got our VIP passes that we won one time, our all access pass from a ship tours, things like that. I think they're great little souvenirs, and they don't cost me anything extra than what it already cost me to cruise. Yeah, and look, it's at the end of the day, it's a personal preference. If you don't like the cards, maybe cruise on a cruise line who doesn't have it. Carnival has come out and said plain simple, they have no intention, no current plans to get rid of the sign and sell cards. Their key cards, whatever, they have no intention of doing it. They have no intention of going to the medallion program that Princess is using. So if you're absolutely against them, maybe, sail on a cruise line that doesn't have them. But every time I've seen it where people have said that, you read the comments below it and people want the key cards to stay. They like them. They're souvenirs, and I don't think you're going to change their minds. But listen, it is not necessarily for everybody. Just don't think that if you write in a comment that says, nobody likes these, everybody throws them in the trash, everybody wants to go to an app. That's, to me, is what's wrong with a lot of these comments, because who'd you talk to? Who did you ask? Because, right here, just in this one, we have people, I keep mine, I collect them, we save ours. Obviously, they didn't talk to anybody in this chat, because I haven't seen anybody here that says they just throw it in the trash. All right, let's see. Oops, somehow I just turned off. There we go. Turned off all the comments and didn't know where I was there for a second. All right. Oh, here we go. More TV comments. I like this. It says, hey, I had not sailed on a Carnival ship yet with this big TV looming over the Lido deck. And I was very surprised that on the Dream, they do not play the news in the morning. I am on vacation, but the news of what is happening in the United States has never been more important. The news should be played on the big TV on the Lido from 7 a.m. for a few hours. Everyone sitting here with me agrees with my request. All right, so news on the Lido TV in the morning. Now, this is one that we've seen comments like this before. Every cruiser collects the ship cards. Well, everyone in this chat has said they collect them. Let's be clear about that. We can't speak for everybody. I never even remotely think I speak for everybody. But so what do you guys think? You go up on the Lido deck first thing in the morning for your cup of coffee. Do you want the news up on the TV screen? Do you want it up there on the big Lido? My first question is which news do you want? Which news do you pick? Because in my opinion, you have this news over here that tells this version of the story. You have this news on this side that tells this version of the story. So folks, some like some left news, some folks like some right news. I don't know a whole lot of news that's just plain and clear and right down the middle. Which news do you pick? So even if you want it up there, which one do you pick? Because half the people will be happy and the other half will be upset. So that's the first problem with news. Second problem is, you know what? When I'm on vacation, if I need to know something, I can look it up real quickly on my phone, through the internet, whatever the case may be. There is some news channels available on your TV cabin, even if it's not 42 inches, even if it's not premium news. There's still some news there. But I just really wonder, of the thousands of people that are on a cruise ship, how many of them really want to go up to the Lido deck and see the news for a couple hours every single morning? Well, let's take a look here. Connie says the news is the last thing I want to see on a cruise, to get away from reality. Absolutely. There's enough bad stuff in the news. Every day there's bad stuff in the news. You know, I'm on vacation. That stuff's still going to be, unfortunately, it's the way the world is. It's still going to be bad when I get home. It's not going to get any better if I watch it every day. Yep. I'm on vacation. I don't want the news. Yeah. And like Dale said, which news? Either way, you're going to have unsatisfied viewers. So honestly, not putting up the news is probably the best solution. That way, if person A wants to watch this news, they can watch it on a device of their choosing. If person B wants to watch this other news, they can watch that on the device of their choosing. I think that's the easiest way to make everybody happy, personally. Exactly. If the news is that important, you can go watch it in your room. Like I said, the internet on the ships is getting better with the Starlink. Take some type of smart device. Take a tablet, find you a nice spot on the Lido deck, have your sip of coffee, put your earbuds in, and you can watch whatever news makes you happy. Here, you can even look. You can even take your tablet and hold it up in front of the Lido screen and pretend you're watching it on the Lido screen. How about that? Yep, exactly. There's so many. Every channel these days has an app, at least one app. So yeah, you can watch just about anything you want from an app now. Yep, I'm sure if the Earth's rocking, they'll tell us. Yep. Yep, I go on vacation to get away from it. Yeah, and if it's anything major, if it's anything like super, super important, somebody on the ship's going to be like, hey, did you hear about this? Or if it's something that involves the ship, the weather, something, major going on, the cruise line's going to tell you. They'll put out some kind of announcement, something like that. But just the day-to-day mess that goes on the news, I don't need to hear it when I'm on vacation. Yep, I have the same thing. I have my Bluetooth earbuds. In case I want to hear something, listen to a cruise story or something like that when I'm on the ship. Yep, pop in my earbud, play it right there off of my phone. And I can sit on my balcony, sit on the Lido deck. I don't disturb anybody else. And I watch exactly what I want to watch on the rare occasions when I do that. So there you go. Yep, Lynn said that she was on MSC when Queen Elizabeth passed, and they made the announcement right there on the ship. So yeah, if there's like a serious major event, they're going to let you know. Now, on a side note, I'm sure you guys have probably already heard, but Jimmy Buffett did pass away. It's been all over the internet today. And if you've been a long-time cruiser, you've cruised for quite a while, you've probably been, into a Margaritaville. They have them there at cruise ports. You may have sailed on the Margaritaville cruise line, but we've all been on the Lido deck or in one of the clubs and had a little cheeseburger in paradise playing, little Margaritaville playing. So yeah, unfortunately we did lose Jimmy Buffett today. Very sad news, but him and his music have, to me, been a part of cruising. The music he plays just kind of sounds like it belongs on a cruise ship, belongs on the beach when you're in the Caribbean destinations. And so I think they've been hand in hand for a long time. A lot of people have heard and sung that music while on board a cruise ship. So, we say our prayers and we say goodbye to Jimmy Buffett. It's kind of just a little middle thing in randomly in here, but yeah, I can't remember not knowing his songs. Margaritaville, Cheeseburger. It seems like I've always known that music. So grew up with it. It's just been kind of part of life the whole time. And I'm sure on cruises, especially the next couple of cruises going out, we'll be on a cruise next week. I'm willing to bet there's going to be a lot of Jimmy Buffett music being played around the ship just in tribute to this man. I will be so surprised if I don't hear his songs multiple times. I'll have to let you guys know when I come back, but I'm willing to bet that that's what we're going to hear, which perfectly fine by me. All right, let's hop on here to our next one. Oh, here we go. Nice and demanding. All right, direct question. Expecting a direct answer. When will Carnival begin doing something for its solo cruisers? The Beards are looking into it. It's being considered, being looked at. Yada, yada, yada. Run around, avoid directness has gotten old. People have been asking this for over 10 years. Why can't Carnival finally, directly, bluntly, definitely answer this ongoing question? All right, solo cruising. And what they're referring to in there when they talk about solo cruising is, of course, the fact that if you cruise solo on Carnival, and a lot of cruise lines are like this, you pay for double occupancy. All the rooms on a ship, with the exception of a few that have solo cabins, are double occupancy rooms. So all the times that I've sailed solo by myself without Tiffany, I paid for 2 people to be in my room. Now, you don't pay 2 sets of taxes, 2 sets of port fees, 2 sets of any of that, but your base cruise fare, you do. Sometimes you get a solo supplement, but for the most part, you're paying for double occupancy. So, they want a direct answer that when is Carnival going to do something? Well, I'm going to give you the best direct answer for all of the hinting that Carnival has said all along. What is Carnival going to do? Absolutely nothing. All right? Except they are talking about the possibility of double points for solo cruisers in the future. But other than that, they're going to do nothing. What exactly do they want for solo cruising? What they want is they don't want to pay the double occupancy rate. And if you even look at cruise lines that have solo cabins, like Norwegian has some solo cabins, Virgin has some solo cabins. Solo cabins sell out very quickly. They go very fast by the solo cruisers because you only pay for single occupancy. They're super small, super tiny. But look, these cruise lines figured this out. And think about this from a cruise line's point of view. You can fuss up and down that you're sailing by yourself in a room. But that room is designed for 2 people minimum. They want to get paid for 2 people in that room. That's how they make their money. So as a general rule, the cruise lines are not going to come along and go, oh, well, you're in a double occupancy room. We'll give it to you we won't charge you for that second person. We will do without our revenue. That's the direct answer right there. They're not giving up their money. Sorry. Maybe in the future, they will build some solo cabins on their ships. But even that, they said at this time, they have no plans to do so. Yeah, every once in a while, you can get a solo supplement, which is usually like 1.5, things like that. Occasionally, the cruise lines will do that. They'll make offers for it. The last one I saw, MSC had it, where they were charging no solo supplement, which meant you didn't do the double occupancy rate. But if you're looking at cruising right now, where the ships are full, ships are selling out. There's no extra available space. There's no motivation for the cruise lines to go, oh, okay, we won't charge you, when they can sell that cabin to somebody with 2 people in it that's going to pay the rate they want, and they're going to get their money. And that may not be a popular answer. That may not be the answer anybody was hoping to hear that likes to solo travel. I solo travel. I feel everybody's pain. But at the end of the day, that's the reality of it. Exactly. It is an economic thing. And that's how they build out what they're going to get off of these ships. You're absolutely correct. And so, yep, they may have batted around this question for 10 years. They may say they're considering it, they're thinking about it, this or that. But like I said, as long as these ships are selling out and they're full and they're not having occupancy issues, that's constantly going to get shelved to the back. I promise. It's just the way it is. They're going to make their money. Now, as a solo cruiser, I'm happy to get a solo cruiser rate. Don't get me wrong. I would like to see a solo cruising rate or solo cabins across all of the cruise lines. I agree with it in principle, but my expectation versus, what I would like versus what I'm going to get, know enough about cruising to think that they're probably not the same thing. But pick one of the cruise lines that has solo cabins. Book it as early as you possibly can. Grab that solo cabin, and then you don't have to worry about it. But if Carnival is your favorite, and that's the one you want to cruise on, at least for now, double occupancy, that's what you're going to pay, even if you're sailing by yourself. Oh, I can see both sides. I completely see it. It's my pocket. Extra money's coming out of my pocket for somebody who isn't on the ship. I completely get it. I could say that they're not eating food. They're not using electricity. They're not, using any consumables on board the ship, but I paid for them like they were. I get it. And like I said, I would like to see a solo rate, but I'm also not going to come on here, read a comment to you guys, and then feed you full of BS saying, yeah, they're going to make this change and this and that. From the reality standpoint, at this point, they have no motivation to do so. Double points is probably the best you're going to get at a cruise line anytime soon. Yep. Yeah, like I said, the cruise lines will do it occasionally. You can get one occasionally, but it's not guaranteed every single time. And, how they're picking and choosing doing it probably has a lot to do with occupancy. They got a bunch of empty cabins. Maybe you can get it, but if they're picking between someone who wants a solo supplement and pay for one person and a family over here of 3, 4, 2, whatever the case may be that wants that same cabin, you know whose money they want. And unfortunately, it's the reality of a business. We have to remember that at the end of the day, cruising is still a business. But as cruisers, I see the other side too, because we're there, we're on vacation, and we're having fun, and we're enjoying everything, and we'd like to be able to do it more often as prices go up, and it gets tough. All right, let's see what we got next. Oh, here we go. We are regular cruisers. We have sailed from Jacksonville several times. I searched this page and couldn't find no reference to the mass shooting. I could find no mention of it from you. Every time there is something like this happens in Miami, Galveston, and other more important ports to Carnival, you send a message. Jacksonville gets old, small ships, and gets no message from you. Our VIFP numbers are. I don't know why anybody would need those particular numbers. Oh, hold on, we have dogs barking here. Let the dogs bark here real quick because Tiffany has just arrived home, so hopefully she'll be joining us here shortly. All right, so we see these comments all the time that when people write this stuff into John Heald. I think they seem to forget. First of all, he lives in the UK. He lives in England. So what is the news over there talking about something that happened in Jacksonville? That's the first thing. How could this one man possibly send a message for every bad thing that happens in this country? Every single morning I turn on the news. Something bad has happened in my local news. And I am one news station amongst thousands and thousands across the United States. People need to stop thinking that this one man is going to send you a message every single time something bad happens in your area. That is just completely unrealistic. Okay? Then, Jacksonville is a forgotten port because all we get is old and small cruise ships. Well, Jacksonville does get smaller cruise ships. The smaller cruise ships are older. So I guess that part is technically true, but there's a bridge. There's a bridge that the cruise ships must go under in order to get into Jacksonville, which means the new, larger cruise ships, they don't fit under the bridge, which means they're not coming to Jacksonville. That's why you get an older, smaller cruise ship. Keeping in mind that there is another alternative here where Carnival doesn't need to send you a ship at all. I think some people forget that. They don't have to send you a ship. They don't have to dock there. They don't have to sail from there. People forget that. They forget things like obstacles and everything else. I'm sorry. Yeah, I bet you would like to have the Carnival Mardi Gras come there. But guess what? She doesn't fit under the bridge. She can't get into the port. Just the way it is. But in the middle of our thing, looky. I told you guys she was going to join us.
Hi, guys. Sorry.
Oh, no, they knew you were on your way. They knew you had to get home first.
Got stuck behind slow people.
Yeah. They sailed out of Jacksonville several times, but they're complaining about Jacksonville getting older, smaller ships. Then pick a different port. Absolutely. Well, yeah, one, if you're sailing out of Jacksonville, how much further is Fort Lauderdale? How much further is Canaveral? How much further is Miami, Tampa? Honestly, I wouldn't mind. If I was close to Jacksonville, I'd be taking advantage of all those cruise ports. That's just me. You got a bunch of highs coming.
Hi, guys.
Everybody's happy to have you here. They're like, we've been listening to him for an hour now already. We're ready for another opinion.
I have too. I've been listening to him on my way home.
Oh, you've been listening on your way? All right. See, she's been a part of the show remotely. She's joined us in remotely. But yeah, a lot of people have this thing about that they don't get the newest cruise ship. It doesn't come to their area. So they must be neglected or forgotten. Can you close them outside, please? But the reality of it is look, if you've cruised for a while, you know who's getting the newest, the latest, and the greatest? Miami, Fort Lauderdale, places like that. They're going to get the latest and greatest because they're the largest cruise ports. Only this year, only come this December, is Galveston getting a brand spanking new cruise ship. And that's because Galveston has moved into the number 4 spot as the 4th largest cruise port. But yeah, as long as these other ones are big and they have these massive sailings and a massive, group and audience, they are the ones that, y'all are going to have to forgive that. Tiffany is fighting with dogs. But yeah, those are the ones going to get it, and obstacles are always going to matter. If the cruise ship is too big to get under a bridge, you're never going to get a bigger cruise ship. But like everybody said, go somewhere else. Sail from a different cruise port, and then you will simply have more options. Because like I said, if Jacksonville's right there, how much further is it really for you to go down to next one, Fort Lauderdale, and cruise from there, and then you could have some of the biggest cruise ships in the world. What do you think?
Yes.
I don't know if that is going to work. They are just wanting there. All right. Let's go on to our next one here. Oh, here we go. This has been a good topic all this week. I'll tell you what, I'm going to let Tiffany read a cruise comment because she's here. She's excited. She's ready to go. All right, baby.
All right, it says, good morning. Yesterday, I asked why Carnival would give a discount code to some and not all from the computer glitch last week regarding the drink package. Today, I am still wondering. The right thing to do would have been to offer a discount to everyone, not just the people who tried to take advantage of Carnival and the system. I am disappointed with Carnival for this lack of respect for all cruisers. Still hoping Carnival will make this right. Thank you.
All right. So, yep, there was the great Carnival glitch that happened, and we talked about this. Geneva says hi.
Geneva says hi, Geneva.
The big glitch, people went in on Friday, was just this past Friday, I do believe, a week ago. They went in, they were purchasing the drink package. Everything was good. Told you, it was $59.99. I believe that's the price, per person per day. They went over to the checkout. They hit the buy button, and it was charging them $59 flat for the whole cruise. Carnival came back the next day, said, oh, computer glitch. Everybody that bought this is getting a refund. You get your money back. You now have to buy it at the regular price. But because this happened, we're going to give you a 10%. And I believe it's 10%. But they were going to send them an email and a discount code to purchase their Cheers package. Well, that pissed off a ton of people. Ton of people came back and said, well, we didn't take advantage of it. We didn't try to cheat the system. We didn't know it happened. Why aren't we getting a discount? Now, keep in mind, can you imagine if Carnival said, oh, well, we had a glitch. These 200 people fell into this glitch, but we will give every single person out there this code. For how long? Do we give it to everybody that's going to cruise for the remainder of this year? Everybody that's going to cruise over the next year? When do we draw the line? Carnival carries millions of people a year. Mm-hmm. And because you didn't jump on and try to get it at that price, look, I'm going to be honest. I'll tell you up front. If I'd have seen it, I knew it was a glitch, but I probably would have done it anyway on that weird offhand chance that the cruise lines went ahead and honored it. I mean, what's the worst that happens? They came back and said, oh, you weren't supposed to have this, and we're going to have to give you your money back.
Everyone just wants a handout.
Exactly. I get why everybody likes a discount. I get it, but look, something happened. You missed it. At this point, you're asking for the participation trophy. Why did they get something and I didn't get something? Well, you know what? Because you weren't part of the problem that happened. You weren't part of the glitch. you saw it and said, this isn't real, this, whatever the case may be, even if maybe they didn't even see it, but they still want to take the reward. They want to reap the reward that they weren't part of. I mean, I could say the same thing. So a cruise is out right there right now. We just had this happen with cruises out of Tampa because the port was closed. If they canceled their cruise, they got 100% future cruise credit. If they stayed on the ship, they're getting onboard credit. They're getting a couple other things. They're getting a 50% future cruise credit, basically because they were delayed a day for weather. Well, I'm not on that ship, but where is my 50% future cruise credit? I don't apparently have to be a part of the situation just to want it.
Yes.
Just to feel like we should have it. In Carnival, they should take care of me. Come on.
Lynn is smacking his head. And Ray says, knowing it was wrong, we would have jumped right on anyway.
Exactly. Because what happens if the cruise line goes, our bad, we'll honor it. Doesn't always happen, but occasionally it happens.
Yeah.
So, you know what? The folks that jumped on it and got a little extra discount, you get no hate and no shade from me. You jumped on something, you took advantage of it, you got a little something for it in the end. Hey, what can I say? I don't know if you guys remember, there was that weird thing. It happened on Royal, and it was supposed to have been for celebrity, but that Princess thing came up, or that Premier Plus thing came up on Royal when we were booking our cruise, and it came up for some low price before Royal came back and said, oh, you can't have it. That's not supposed to be here. Bad advertising. Yeah, we were all trying to jump on that.
Mm-hmm.
Me included. Didn't pan out. Still tried to jump on it. I'm not going to lie. Because occasionally they will honor it. But just because I wasn't a part of it does not mean I'm entitled to something for free. I mean, because where do you draw the line, honestly? All right, let's see what we got next. All right, we got 1, 2, 3. We got 5 more comments. 5 more to go. Here we go. Oh, here we go. It is hurricane season. We have been caught in the rain twice and never with a poncho because Carnival is too cheap to give their passengers one. Passengers on the blank ship have them. I know they are an upmarket line, but is Carnival really too cheap to provide ponchos at the gangplank? All right, ponchos at the gangplank. Is Carnival too cheap? Well, you know what? Let's talk about this for a minute. So it's hurricane season. You start the comment off by saying it is hurricane season, which to me says you're aware that it might rain. What do you think?
I think I'm going to pack a poncho. But we always pack a poncho.
You already have a pack of ponchos. That is correct.
Yes.
It is in her carry bag for this very reason.
Yes.
Buy yourself a poncho. Do you know that if you go to the dollar store or even in the travel section at Walmart, you can get travel size ponchos? They come in it's about this big when it's all folded up. Fit right in the front pocket.
97 cents.
They're 97 cents. But it's hurricane season, so you know it's going to rain. They said that we've been rained on twice. Why does the cruise line not give it to me? This cruise line does.
And I know what cruise line they're talking about.
Which cruise line are they talking about?
Disney, because when we went to the ruins, they gave us a poncho because it drizzled a little bit as we were pulling in.
You know what? I was going to ask which cruise line gave you ponchos, and you are absolutely right. I had forgotten that they did give us a poncho that day.
Because I still have mine.
But I'm going to tell you what. There is enough of a price difference between a Disney cruise and a Carnival cruise. You're damn right Disney best be giving you a poncho. Carnival, and can you imagine how many ponchos do they need to have on board? You got a ship of 5,000 people. It sails week after week after week. It can always possibly rain. Are they supposed to hand you a poncho every single time you get off the gangplank? You step foot on the dock? they might as well just raise their rates. Your cruise might as well go from $500 to $1,500 because apparently now, according to this person, Carnival needs to purchase everybody ponchos.
Lynn asked, is the cruise ship supposed to supply umbrellas also? Why, yes. If you get a poncho, you need an umbrella.
And a rain jacket. And one of those hats that holds 2 beer cans on the side with straws to go in your mouth. Now, I will say this. I was on Allure of the Seas, and in the Central Park area, there actually are umbrellas in there. They go in a little umbrella stand right there by the door, so if it is raining on board the ship and you want to be in Central Park, you can walk around with an umbrella. Not made to be taken off the ship, anything like that, but in that one spot, they did have umbrellas.
Well, that's awesome.
And I even showed them in a video because I was like, hey, look, they have umbrellas. That's something you see. Oh, you'd be surprised, though, the number of people that think the cruise lines are responsible for providing them things. They've asked, they want to know why cruise lines don't provide them mosquito repellent.
Connie says, and don't forget the sunscreen. Remember the guy who blamed Carnival for his sunburn?
Sunscreen, sunburn, mosquito, bug spray. They every time they get bit by a bug, burnt by the sun, raindrop on their head, they want to know why the cruise lines don't provide it for them. I would like to know, when did we stop being adults? When did we stop going, if I go outside and it's very, very sunny and I stand out there, I could get burnt. If there's water falling from the sky, then I might get wet. And if there's bugs flying around, I might get bit. I could bring a child and go, and they could tell you these things. How come as adults we cannot plan ahead and we have to write in comments that somebody owes us something?
Yeah, and at Disney prices, it should be a great poncho. It actually was.
It was, and if it had Mickey Mouse on it, she still has it. So, but like I said, at the same time, you're talking a few $1,000 difference in the cruise price. Disney prices like a luxury cruise line, like a top of the tier cruise line, and they are. You're going to get the extra things like that. When you're taking a more budget-friendly cruise line, you're not going to get a poncho, and now you're comparing apples to oranges. You're not even comparing apples to apples. But yeah, people constantly want things for free. They want things to be handed to them. Why isn't it not giving it to me? I'm really curious. Can I go on the cruise next week? And can I ask the cruise lines why did they not provide me underwear? They know I need to wear underwear when I go to the main dining room. Why did they not provide me underwear? Can I ask them that?
No.
At guest services.
No.
I'm going to throw a fit.
No.
I'd be like, refund! Refund! You didn't provide me underwear. Where's my free steak dinner? No? Okay, I agree. I wouldn't do that, but that's almost what it's coming. It's getting that kind of ridiculous. It really, really is. So, do you guys think, should the cruise lines be providing you all this stuff for free? I mean, so far we've got dill pickle chips on the bars because we all ready for some norovirus. You know what? This actually works. We eat the dill pickle chips that everybody's put their hand in, that nobody's washed their hands.
Okay.
We now all have the norovirus.
Ooh.
It's shooting out of both ends.
So now you do need the ponchos.
Now we have the ponchos that the cruise lines gave to us so that we're not throwing up on each other's clothes. What do you think?
I think I'm going to skip this cruise.
I'm telling you. I know some gross, they're not even in here, but I'll tell you some gross comments about people that wrote in and.
It's not. Let's not.
I don't have the actual comment, but there's a comment out there about a woman who was upset because apparently her two sisters, one of them got sick. They were in the same room. First, she got mad because they wouldn't give her own room away from her sick sister in a fully booked ship. There was no room to give her. Then she was upset because while her sister was sick, and I understand things happen, but her sister went to the bathroom on the floor in the cabin. So it smelled. And she was then upset because they wouldn't give her and her sister a whole other cabin. that they couldn't give her the first time because there were no other cabins. And then we went in and cleaned and steamed and all that kind of stuff. But oh yeah. Oh, you know what it's actually a lawsuit. That was part of a lawsuit from 2016, and it involved norovirus, and she's suing for she was dissatisfied with the crew. Yeah, it was something really crazy.
See, that's where I think that rule of thumb, what would you do if you were at home, applies.
You know what? That is a good rule, and I have never even thought of that. See, aren't we all glad Tiffany showed up to share the wise advice with us? That's true. When you're on a ship, what would you do if you're at home? Would you expect somebody to run to your house, a business, your local Walmart, Target, grocery store, and provide everything you needed for you if you were at home? That's a really good attitude to have while you're on the ship. What would you do as an adult if you were at home? Think about that. I like that. Okay. There we go.
Wasn't this one sister a lawyer?
Yes, that is the story. It took me a second to remember. Yes, she's a lawyer who's suing the cruise lines, and it's already been thrown out once. She's actually like appealing the fact that they told her to go away. But yes, that's the story. And Don told that story over on his channel on Don's Family Vacations. That's right. I knew I'd heard it from somebody, and I just couldn't remember. But yeah, that's that story right there. Did we miss any? Okay. Sometimes the comments don't always keep up. But yeah, so just another example of what people write in, the crazy stuff that people write in. Let's see.
Yeah, Robert put in there, we never use the MDR, so we don't tip that.
Yeah, we were talking about tips earlier and everything like that. Yeah, and that's a good example of someone that, you know, if you're tipping out in cash and you don't use that facility, you know, I get that. I completely understand that. We've gone on cruises before and never once stepped in the MDR. When we were on the Discovery Princess, we never once went to the main dining room, but we still tipped them because as part of the prepaid, it was included. But yeah, I get that. It's hard not to. The gratuities that's one of those subjects that we don't.
In its own.
Yes, absolutely is a beast in its own. Okay. This is new cruisers right here. New cruisers. And we have a couple comments similar like this. All right. Why would you guys make people who are flying or driving down wait until 7 p.m.? What if you don't offer a good enough refund? We all took our vacation time or PTO time to do this. Why does it feel like y'all don't care? Obviously, you cannot control the weather, but you can control your response and how you assist us. All right, so this is all about the Port of Tampa being closed here just the last couple of days. And so we know that the cruise ship was delayed.
Judy and I missed tips by Tiffany. Is it coming back? Yes, it is coming back. I'm hoping to record one tonight.
I have bugged her. Let's make this realistic. The most likely it'll be after we get back from this cruise, because we do have a lot going on right now and everything like that. I encourage it. I know there's people out there that missed that. All right, so let's jump back. So Port of Tampa is closed. Now, you're right. The cruise line does not control the weather. The cruise line cannot control what time they're going to open up the port. So initially, they were like, okay, we're going to try to disembark people around 7 o'clock. Try to get in this afternoon, get people off by 7, get the next people on. Well, the port didn't open. They couldn't. They had to delay overnight and go into the next day. Cruise line didn't know that till late in the afternoon. Now, first of all, if you are flying in the day of the cruise, that's your mistake altogether. All right? If you're far enough away that you're driving in and time is an issue, and you're driving in at the last minute, buddy, that's on you. You should have planned ahead. Every experienced cruiser will tell you the best rule of thumb is you always show up the day before. Okay? You get that hotel. And if you travel during hurricane season, you have to anticipate, plan ahead, have a backup plan because stuff like this will happen. If you're coming all the way from somewhere else in the United States, you're flying into Tampa, be prepared. You got to have that insurance. You got to have that backup plan. You got to have that, what if I need to spend an extra night in a hotel? What if I got to buy some extra food because there's a delay? Always got to have that plan in your head. You got to know. We're going on a cruise. What happens if our ship is delayed and we can't get on Monday? We got to know what's going on. We got to have a plan. We do have a backup plan. What if we get stuck out a couple extra days because suddenly a hurricane comes up and shuts down Galveston? We got to have a plan. We already got to know what we're going to do, how we're going to get from point A to point B. You have to know these things. And so that's kind of why I think some of these people are new cruisers. And when you see there's another comment, I think it's the next one, you're definitely going to tell it's from a new cruiser. So let's take a look at this one as well, because I think it also has to do with that. Yeah. All right. We are set to sail on the Elation today. We were sent an email that stated, do not head there until the update at noon. Now, we get the email at 12 to head there, but we've only got 5 hours before final boarding, which we live in Georgia, and it takes 5 hours to drive there. Why weren't we given ample time to get to the port? I've called Carnival and waiting on a call back, but can you please push the boarding time till at least 6? I'm sure there's others in my situation. We want to cruise, but we also want to be safe getting there. It's 13 in my group. If you can, please reach out for someone. Okay. Now, this is another example of why I think these people are probably new cruisers. Do you see it? Mm-hmm. And why I say these are new. Yep, there always needs to be a backup plan. That's true, no matter what kind of vacation you're taking, because you never know what's going to happen. All right, so these folks live in Georgia. There was a delay. They were told that there's going to be a delay. Do not come to the cruise port until we tell you to come to the cruise port. Folks, if you get an email that says don't come to the cruise port, that does not mean
don't come. Don't start coming.
Don't stand in a whole other state. All right? Because I'm wondering, if your boarding time was earlier, come on now. Come on now. If you're trying to get to Tampa and you're in Georgia and it takes 5 hours, you should have already been in Tampa. You should have already been in your way to Tampa, something like that. You don't wait till the cruise line comes out and says, okay, guys, we're clear, we're good, we're ready, head to the cruise port. And you're like, well, but I'm still at my house and I'm still 5 hours away. Whoa. Then you ride into the cruise line and go, but I really want to cruise. Can y'all just wait? They're already late. They're already delayed. And I'm not trying to pick on these people, but this is a prime example of a first-time cruiser right here, that they don't know to already be there. If you get an email from the cruise line that says, do not come to the cruise port until such and such time, that is specifically the cruise port. That is not the city that the cruise port is in. Okay? Want to be clear that they should have already been in that cruise port.
In the cruise city.
In the cruise city. And then waited for the cruise port.
Premium frequency said so they waited until 5 hours before boarding before they even left.
Right. Before they even left their home in Georgia. Rookie mistake. And I get it. First time cruiser. They obviously have not watched any YouTube videos. Hey, your first time cruiser, it doesn't even have to be me. Watch some cruise videos. Watch tips for cruising. All content creators about cruising have some form of it, which will tell you, get to the cruise port day ahead. Especially if there's something crazy going on. Especially if there's bad weather going on. You get there early. You give yourself extra time just in case something like this happens. But yeah, I'm not sure if these folks made the ship or not. But yeah, you can't leave a whole other state and go, oh, now we only have 5 hours because you just now told us. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, what do you think?
I think that is research. Do your research.
Yep, and don't come the day of.
Yeah.
All right, we are down to 2 comments. 2 comments left. Let's see what kind of gloriousness we have next. Oh, all right, so we are back to tipping again. I prefer the blank cruises way. 0 tipping, but world-class hospitality. Service and restaurant is prompt and polite, and you pay only for what you eat and drink. You also get waiters who don't pester you every few minutes with, is everything okay? And can I get you something else? And no, what is that word? Lurid dancing on podiums. That's a straight jab at Carnival. Instead, you feel like you're given the time and the space to enjoy your meal in a quiet and sophisticated environment. Quiet and sophisticated. All right, so this is an example of a person that doesn't want to tip, and that's perfectly fine. You know, if you want a type of cruise where you can either prepay the gratuities or they're included in the price of the gratuities, there are cruise lines out there just for you that have that. Now, I'm not aware of which cruise lines they're talking about where you go to the dining room and you only pay for what you eat. Somebody help me out with that one. Because if you look at Virgin Voyages where the tips are included, there's never gratuities. You still don't pay for just what you eat. You know, the food's included. You know, other than some a la carte examples at some specialty restaurants, I'm unaware of any cruise lines that you only pay for what you eat. So I'm not sure about that one. And look, if you want a quiet and you want a sophisticated, you know, type of dinner, you know, which in my opinion, I'm sorry, is a bit stiff and a bit stuffy, then you know what? Carnival is not for you. Carnival is loud. Carnival waves towels. Carnival sings. Carnival dances. They get up on the podiums. They have a good time in their main dining room. They're called the fun ships for a reason. Okay? That stiff, you know, you want to sit at the table with your bow tie and your formal gown on, you know, and have the waiter come by with white glove service. It's not Carnival.
Yeah.
You're on the wrong ship.
So my wife and I made a running photo finish to catch our first cruise ship many years ago. Never made that mistake again.
If you do make that mistake, you usually only make it once.
Yeah, it's a one and done.
It's a one and done for those unfortunate folks. And years ago, when you say that years and years ago, I'm willing to bet it was probably one of your very first cruises, and it happens.
Yeah.
It does happen. Now, if you come back and you tell me, well, I'm a platinum cruiser, and 5 hours isn't enough for me to get to the cruise port, and you better wait for me, that, you know, that's on you.
Ruth said Alfredo's Now is at the restaurant that you pay as you go. And then Alien Frequency, if they want quiet and sophisticated on Carnival, go to the steakhouse.
Exactly. You can pay for quiet and sophistication, but
and pay for what you eat.
And pay for what you eat. That's true. Well, no, it's still a flat fee.
Yeah, but you have to pay.
Right. But the way they talked about it, it was like the whole thing was a la carte.
Sandra, hello. We love the dancing.
We love it. Right. It's part of going to the Carnival's dining room. Exactly. Showtime. You know, and at the end, at the very last night, you get that, you know, the goodbye song, and it's part of the cruise experience if you're sailing on Carnival. And then, they come about, we don't want the server to come by and say, was there anything else I can get for you? Oh, so you don't want them to come by and see if they can do more for you. That's what you just said. Is there anything else I can get you? No, stop coming over to my table. Stop asking me if I want something else. What?
Yeah.
Is that not their job?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Is everything okay? Are you doing okay? Is your food good? How rude of me. Let me stop that immediately. People write in the craziest stuff.
And if you just explain to the server, I'm sure they would quit coming around as much. Because they're just there to make you happy. So if you say, hey, it would make me really happy if you brought us our food and left us alone.
Maybe they want it frisbeed from across the room. Hands up, here comes your steak. I don't get people. Me personally, the crew members coming to the table, you start talking with them. And usually it ends up outside of even what's going on the table. Now we're talking about other stuff, where they're from, what's going on, how long they've worked there. You're making friends. Crew members, and I've said it time and time again, are part of the experience.
Yes.
Whether it's your room steward, whether it's your favorite bartender, whether it's, the servers inside the main dining room. Heck, we've been outside on Lido deck talking to the guy who's mopping the water because crew members are part of the fun.
Waiters dancing and singing is as the old days.
Yeah, but it's part of the cruise. If those kind of things aren't for you, then you're on the wrong cruise line. And I guess that's probably the biggest point.
They have a solution for that. It's called room service.
That's true. Nobody will bother you after they drop off the food, and nobody will dance on your bed unless it's you. That's a very good point.
Yes.
But my question is if I like what this cruise line does over here, and I can cruise on them over there and I'm happy, why do I need this cruise line over here to change what they do and makes their passengers happy? Because that's what I want.
You don't. You don't.
Exactly. That's what I say too. Don't expect Carnival or Royal or Norwegian or MSC to change how they do business to suit one individual when you have options out there to meet your choice. If you're so happy over here where you don't have to worry about tips and the servers don't bother you, then cruise there. Cruise where makes you happy. Mm-hmm. We all do it. We all go, hey, I like this cruise line the best. I'm going to cruise on this cruise line. Nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, I'm not expecting Royal Caribbean to immediately dry dock every one of their ships and put a Guy's Burgers on it because that's the burger I like to eat at sea. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should write the comment in.
Or have the dance parties, deck parties that Carnival has too.
That's true. I would like all of Carnival's cruise directors and fun squads to be on every ship of every cruise line immediately. That's ridiculous. They all do it differently. Mm-hmm. Princess has the cast come out from the shows. That's really cool. Royal Caribbean, their deck party, their sail away party. But if I'm only going for the sail away party,
then we got problems.
Well, then I need to pick a cruise line that has the one I like.
Yeah.
Right? If that is my favorite thing to do. But again, that's kind of how I look at it. But all right, here we go. Last one. Drum roll. Let's see what this one is about. Hopefully it's not about tipping again. Oh, no. Here we go. Our old friend COVID is back. Here you go, baby.
You want me to read it?
Yep. This one's all yours.
Just got off the Mardi Gras. I am now dealing with a terrible case of COVID. There was a large outbreak on the ship. Seems the staff is only dusting and not sanitizing. I missed my excursions due to my illness and was refused a refund. Very disappointed in Carnival.
All righty. Very disappointed in Carnival. All right. So, did anybody remotely believe that illness on a cruise ship has gone away? Does anybody believe that COVID has gone away? It's not in the news anymore, but people still catch it. It's the flu now. It's the new version of the flu. It just now kind of has a fancy name, in my opinion. And apparently enough people can carry it that, well, heck, right now, Tiffany and I could both be positive for it for all we know, 100% asymptomatic, and we wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But I guess here's my question. So if you go, and I have no actual information, if she tested, came up positive for it, was quarantined in a room, they don't say anything like that. There's been no story that I've seen about some kind of major outbreak on any of the ships. But if you get sick on a cruise ship and you can't do something on the cruise ship because you're sick, is it the cruise ship's responsibility to give you money? If you're sick and can't go on an excursion that you booked, should the cruise line refund you?
I personally don't think so, because it's not the excursion's fault that I got sick.
Right, and is it the cruise line's fault you got sick? Because if you can't say, I'm sick because the cruise line did this.
I find it hard to believe that the cruise line, though, is what got her sick, depending on the type of cruise she was on. If she was on and with Carnival, it was probably just a 5-day cruise. Well, the gestation period for COVID takes a few days.
Right.
So probably on the tail end of it, when we don't have excursions, she would have gotten it. I don't know. That's just me guessing and assuming, but I do know that it does take a few days.
Right. I know they used to say it was like 4 days, right?
Yeah. So you figure she got on the ship already sick.
Or already a carrier.
Yes.
Or it may not have been COVID at all.
Very true, too. And if it was COVID, why would she have wanted to go on that excursion in the first place? I mean, I got sick on the cruise ship, and I missed the whole day. Granted, it was a sea day. We didn't have anything going on. But was I supposed to go to service desk and say, hey, I got sick on your ship, so you should refund me for this day? I didn't get to do any activities. I didn't get to do anything except lay in the bed. You know, that's kind of, it goes back to my theory of what would you do if you were at home?
But what do you guys think? Should the cruise lines have given her a refund for that excursion? I mean, I'd say you could probably look at it from both sides.
Ray said, sounds as she already infected.
It's kind of what COVID's a 4-day period, I thought. So
Ruth says, we had an outbreak of the flu years ago, quarantined for 2 days, sanitized my room several times, cost me about $400. Life happens. It does, you know? I mean, how many times have we gotten sick at home and had to miss something that we'd already paid for? I guess that's why I use that philosophy.
That's true. You know, that's very true. And I know there's a price difference, but if you go online and pre-purchase movie tickets to go this Saturday to the movies, and Saturday afternoon you get sick and now you can't go to the movies, should you then call the movie theater and have them give you your money back? Yeah. That's a very valid point. I think that is a very valid point. But I think people have a lot of expectations, you know, that and I can understand some of it. I understand, you know, them thinking that, but it's just not right, that they're on vacation and it should be this perfect, absolute perfect with no hiccups, no problems, no issues, nothing bad. But that's just not how the world works.
No, we all have that expectation where we want everything to go ding, 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 right in line, and it's perfect. And there's, like Ruth said, life happens. It doesn't work that way. And yes, Ray, Ruth does have the right attitude about it.
Exactly. And, you know, which is why we always say, too, you never know. Have that insurance. Have that insurance that covers everything. You know, would it cover an excursion?
Probably
you know,
not.
Because you got sick, you know, it was a better chance of it covering that, having it, than is if you don't have insurance at all.
Very true.
But, you know, it's even more than that because, you know, you get on the ship, Imagine those poor folks from Georgia driving that 5 hours, 13 of them, and it doesn't say, hopefully they were, just in case they missed that ship, hopefully they had that insurance. Otherwise, that's a very costly mistake. So, but that was our last comment. We went through quite a few comments today. I said we had everything from tipping to TVs to show me the news to quit dancing in the main dining room to give me my free poncho.
Yeah.
But luckily, I mean, this is a super small percentage of people that just write just enough stuff to keep us entertained every Saturday with all of the kinds of stuff that they write in. I didn't have any good ones this week, but I'm platinum.
Oh, no platinum ones?
No platinum ones. No, I'm triple diamond gold,
Sapphire studded.
Sapphire studded. Where is my this? Where is my that? Why don't I get a free everything type of comments this week? Because this didn't go right and that didn't go right. Look, the truth about cruising is absolutely fun.
And he said, I remember a girl got pregnant on a ship and wanted a refund because they didn't warn her it may happen.
I saw a joke about like that. She said, the one I saw said, we requested the beds be apart. You put the beds together. So I got pregnant on this cruise and it's all your fault. I saw something similar to that. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of them jokes that go around out there. Yeah. I want a refund for my excursion because we went snorkeling and nobody told me there was fish in the ocean and it scared the kids. Yeah. I've seen that one. How come nobody came to my inside cabin and installed the window I requested? Yeah. I've seen that one.
I was very disappointed with the beach because nobody told me there would be that much sand.
Yeah, nobody told me there would be sand. I want a refund because we booked the water park and nobody told us we needed swimsuits.
Yeah, that one, that's a good one. Yeah.
Does the crew go home every night?
Yes. Yes, they do.
Where do these stairs go on this ship? Up and down. Yeah. So all kinds of stuff and jokes and funny stuff of all these people out there.
And he said, don't know if that was a joke or real.
For some of the things that people have wrote in, some of the comments that people have asked and said, it would absolutely not shock me 100% if that had actually been asked at least one time, including the pregnant lady, because nobody told her she could get pregnant on a cruise ship.
This is why I don't like people.
It is always best if you can stick with your kind of people. The kind of people that at least think similarly, along the same lines as you. That's why we can come on here and do these live chats. We get people in here who just think cruising things.
Lynn says, thank you for this chat. I really enjoy these segments. Lenny says goodbye, Chris and Tiffany from Ohio.
Yep, no, I want to thank everybody for coming. Like I said, 75 episodes of what every cruiser wants. That is a lot of comments. A lot of comments. But I thought it would be great. We come on here, we do a live, we read them live, we share them live, we talk about them live, and we can all just enjoy it together.
Here is one. I take the elevator up. Can I take it down?
Somebody has asked that question.
Or no, the one that asks, they're trying to get to the front of the ship. What button takes them to the front of the ship?
Yeah. What button in this elevator takes me to the front of the ship?
Yes. This was an awesome live.
Yep. So we're at 75, but we are not stopping. We're going to keep going. We're having too much fun. This is too popular. Everybody's enjoying this week after week. So we are going to keep going. So next Saturday will be episode number 76. And I'm going to have to pre-record that before we go on vacation. But there will be one next Saturday for you guys. But again, I want to thank everybody for coming here for the 75th episode. Really, really appreciate everybody joining in, the comments, having fun. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for everybody out there. Even Tiffany rushing home, at least, catch the end of the show and be a part of this. I didn't know how long it was going to take, so we went a little bit earlier than normal. It's a Saturday evening. I know people got family, friends, maybe other places to go, so we do not want to keep everybody out here super, super late.
Robert says do more live shows.
Do more lives? Man, it's already twice this week. But okay, we will see what we can do. It is tentative. What's the word I'm looking for?
Tentative.
There we go. Possibility. We will have a live show Monday afternoon once we are on board the ship. It's kind of hard to give a specific time. Kind of depends on what's going on with the ship. But we should do an embarkation live this Monday. We usually try to do that on embarkation day. So we will do that, show you a little bit of Voyager of the Seas, what's going on down there. Yep, everybody, if you wouldn't mind, thank you, Dale, for reminding me. And I said, if it wasn't for you guys putting that reminder in there, I forget every single show. I do. I'm having too much fun to remember the little stuff about the thumb button. We all show up, we all have fun. That's at the end of the day, that's what matters to me. But all right, again, I appreciate everybody coming here. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of it. 75 episodes. Oh, boy.
Yes.
Oh, boy. But everybody out there, have yourself a really great night.
And like always, we'll see you out on the high seas.
On Monday.
On Monday.